Hello.
Hello.
Sorry about the jitteriness. Hello, everybody. Hi.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our unique first ever listening party live stream to celebrate our debut album, Glory in the Bone.
We are, all of us, here on screen for you today. We are Echoes and Edges, a music and poetry collective from Bristol, and we released our debut album titled Glory in the Bone back in March 2020. But of course, March 2020 being March 2020, we were unable to celebrate it with a big release in the out in the wild in a venue with everyone joining us in a room. So we ended up doing a live stream instead, which was great fun. But this evening we wanted to take some time to look back at the album and talk you through our writing and collaboration process, why we chose the poems we did, what we did with them, and how we did what we did with them. And the music and the poetry and some videos as well, some music videos, and answer any questions as well. So
maybe we should start by introducing ourselves. Mm-hmm. First of all, we are Charlie and Jake, music duo from Bedminster, and we perform jazz-influenced original compositions with lots of loops on our loop pedal and all of the instruments around us in our little home studio. We've performed at Ronnie Scott's and Cheltenham Jazz Festival, and our 2020 has been kept busy by our new sort of sister project, Echoes and Edges Open Collab. We host a monthly live stream where we improvise music, soundscape and song around poetry performances sent in to us from all over the world. We started this adventure in April this year, but really our whole journey of creating music with poetry began in 2016 with the three lovely poets on screen tonight. So maybe we should let them introduce themselves too. So how about Gilly, you start?
Hi, thanks Charlie and Jake. Well, I'm Gilly Harries, a Bristol-based poet originally from Suffolk. And I'm just delighted that we're here. Have to thank Charlie and Jake again for making all this possible and all the fantastic technology. So I've been writing since I was a teenager. This year published my first collection, and this has just been a magnificent collaboration over the last 4 years within Echoes and Edges.
Thanks, Gilly. Tim.
So I'm Tim Vosberg, also known as Spiky Tim, and I write light-hearted poetry with a focus on fun for people of all ages, particular focus on children, but I do write for all ages. And I once had a poem published on a loaf of bread.
Excellent.
Which was my proudest achievement up until this album release.
I think it surpasses it.
Yeah, we should have done the album on bread.
That's brilliant. Thank you. And David.
Okay, I'm David Punter. I've written rather a lot of poetry. I've become more convinced over the years that poetry works best when combined with other art forms, and so I've been really enjoying this collaboration with musicians in Echoes and Edges. I also published a poem a few years ago called A Dream of Ships, which has just been made into a short film, and that's also, I think, a really nice way of collaborating. So poetry, video, music, I think these things can all go together. Thank you.
And with this live stream, we combine them all at once. So that's great.
If the technology permitting.
Yeah, it's technology permitting indeed. Yeah, well, as we say, it's brilliant to have everyone in the same virtual space again. And it's been obviously a long time since we've all performed together, but it's lovely to be chatting with you. And so tonight we're going to be looking at a couple of tracks from the album and take us through the process. We'll have a listen to them all together and just sort of have a chat about things, really. Yeah. And also, during this live stream and for a couple of days afterwards, you'll be able to get the album with a lovely discount code, which you can see in the text down there. And if you go to echoesandedges.co.uk/glory-in-the-bone, link is also down there. Then you can stream it, download it, and even get a physical copy if you'd like. A lovely copy of it here. And yeah, we'll talk about the artwork a little bit later on. Everyone's got their copy. Yeah.
Great. So as well as the discount code, because it is Christmas coming up, it's also worth mentioning that as with our Open Collab live stream events, it's really lovely to always see the audience interacting with us and each other in the chat to the right of the video. So we'd love to see who's watching. So please do say hello. And if you have any questions, we'll run a short Q&A session at the end too. So ask away.
Brilliant. All right, so let's get straight into it. The first track of the album is actually a bit of a interlude intro kind of piece called The Marnie, and it should be coming up there for you there. There it is. And yeah, this was just sort of a piece that I produced inspired by the Marnie, which is the central of the three peninsulas of the Peloponnese in the south of Greece. Try saying that 7 times fast. And yeah, it's a beautiful sort of remote place, and this music was inspired by that and features some sound, so that the bells
Oh, real goat bells, yeah.
Are real goat bells. Like the ones that you can hear were actually on the goats themselves as they walk around the hills. But here is a little bit of that going on. Yeah, and it's something that we thought sort of captured what we're trying to do with this album, which was really create a space to enjoy the music and the poetry together, and bring more than just music, but also bring this physical space, because this like a lot of the tracks feature recordings of ocean or wind or rain from an actual place, and that really adds a little sort of extra something, we think, and it sets the tone, sets a calm sort of welcome to Glory in the Bone kind of idea.
There's a beautiful video that Jake made from clips from the Marnie too, which you did see a little bit of at the beginning, but I think it glitched out a little bit. So you can find the rest of it on our YouTube channel, glitch free.
Yeah. Oh, and it's playing again.
Lovely. So then, after we've visited the Marnie and kind of, as you say, Jake, created this kind of warm, luscious, calm, we move on to the first poem of the album, which is Everything Beautiful Has Edges by Jilly. So this poem is where we kind of got our name, Echoes and Edges. And I've written down group discussion about the name, but I can't really remember the conversation we had because it was so long ago.
Yeah.
For long years, yes.
But I think when we picked our name, I think we wanted something that kind of talked about being on the edge between music and poetry, maybe.
Yes, and I think I dimly recall, because the edges comes from my poem, but I think the echo idea came from somebody else in the group, because what seems to have happened over the years, and when we first met and started to just sort of improvise, was there were echoes in all our very different, diverse work that spoke to one another.
Definitely.
I may not be right on that, but that's what I'd say anyway.
Yeah, I think years ago we talked a little bit about my my poem called Echo, with that chorus,
yes, David,
that inspired chorus that goes echo, echo, echo. Some people might not find that terribly inspiring, but I thought it was very good at the time. But I think the point of Echoes and Edges is that echoes suggests that they both suggest some interplay across a boundary, but echoes is something soft and edges is something hard. And I think we wanted to try and capture those two valences in the name.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, I think we were very clever at the time.
I know things have gone downhill since then.
So far.
Jilly, before we listen to the poem, could you tell us about when and where you wrote the piece and a bit more about it?
Yes, happily. I mean, I suppose I have to preface it by saying that it's been completely transformed by Charlie and Jake's musical arrangement, Charlie's voice. I was attending a workshop up in Cumbria with the American poet George Wallace at the home of Maddie Pryor, Stone's Barn. And she offers workshops on poetry, voice, song. And I think it was about 2012. I couldn't find this evening. Anyway, we were set kicker lines, as often happens, a line that triggers a thought to a poem. And George Wallace proffered this line, "Everything beautiful has edges." And where we were staying is deep Riva country in rural Cumbria, warring factions centuries back between the Scots and the English, a place of deep beauty, isolation, nature, history, music and song. And I found myself sort of creating a piece that felt a little bit mystical or had a nod to romanticism, really. It more or less came all of a piece. And so that was the inspiration, and that was the place. Sense of place is important in my poems for me.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, so this also has a video, which we'll talk a little bit about after we've watched it, technology permitting. So everybody cross your fingers. And yeah, this is Everything Beautiful by Gilly Harries with music from us and the video as well. So let's try that out.
Everything beautiful has edges. Everything beautiful has edges. Everything beautiful.
Okay, I think the videos are not going to work tonight, but
That's okay.
we can play it, the audio of it only, and you can you're on our YouTube now, so you can go to our YouTube channel and all the videos are there. And we might try them again later on, but I will be able to play the audio for you just on its own. So let me just set that up.
Hey, but in the meantime, why not subscribe to our YouTube channel while you're here?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
we've got a lot going on in the next few weeks, so keep in touch.
So this is Everything Beautiful Has Edges by Gilly Harries.
Everything beautiful has edges. The safe boundary of a ribboned love.
We just have to be on this live. We all have to be live. You'll see us react to the song live.
No problem.
Because that's what the technology requires us to do that. So here we go. This is Everything Beautiful Has Edges for the third and the lucky time. Here we go.
Everything beautiful has edges. Everything beautiful has edges. The safe boundary of a ribboned love. The wish for continuity. Not to live the unbidden life, or stop by a field of grace and regret you lost the key to unlatch yourself at evening.
And regret you lost the key to unlatch yourself at evening.
Everything beautiful has edges. The Lady of Shalott in her loveless tower unravelled by desire. Her prediction of demise, her wish for an embroidered life, a symmetry of stitches, of light and shadow, the selvaging of closure.
The salvaging of closure, of
Everything beautiful has edges. This page, this book, this room, each a space of opportunity. The artist's hand bounded by skin meeting surface of wood. Even the sea, phantom with azure, has somewhere an edge, somewhere a return, somewhere surely an ending.
Somewhere an edge, somewhere a return, somewhere surely an ending, an ending. It's really lovely to hear that again, actually. I haven't listened to that all the way through for a while. It's beautiful, Gilly.
Thank you, Charlie. What you added to it, embellished it. It's beautiful.
I love the line, "The wish for an embroidered life." That's lush.
I can't sew for toffees. Sew the words up. Stitch those up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Beautiful poem, and the sound of the sea and the way in which Jake and Charlie you conjured up the sea behind that gives it a wonderful sense, I think, of the sea and the shoreline and that particular kind of edge. It's a brilliant treatment.
Where was the sea from? Do you remember?
I can't remember if that one might actually be the ocean.
The ocean drum.
Yeah,
Probably.
which we'll come on to imminently.
Yeah. That drum.
And water often appears in all of our writing, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think one
interesting.
of our early gigs, we had a bit of
yeah,
a theme of water running through pretty much every piece, didn't we?
Yeah. Was that at Grounded? Or was that the...
Yeah.
Yeah. And we did
Yes,
a double bass
yeah.
down.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But we called it running water.
Ah, yes.
No, we didn't. No, but we
Oh,
could have
did we?
done.
Yeah. Well, should we move on to the next track?
Yeah,
Unless there's anything
sure.
anyone wants to say about the rest of that. Yeah. Well, as we said, the video, you can go and watch it elsewhere. We'll try some of the other ones later. But yes.
What's the noise I keep getting in my ear? Is that coming out to everybody else? If you get a message or something?
No. Maybe no.
Well, that's no problem if it is or
I
it
don't
isn't.
think so.
It's just a bit annoying in my ear, actually.
Okay.
So next, let's talk about Tim's first poem on the album, The Art of Showing Off. Tim, do you want to start by setting the scene for the listeners for this one?
Yeah, sure. So the art of showing off, this all came about because I'm actually scared of heights. And I was on holiday in St Ives in Cornwall with some of my friends. And my friend Richard, knowing that I'm scared of heights, dared me to jump off a pier. He's actually referred to in the poem as Boris. And the reason for that is that Richard, when he was younger, used to look like the tennis player Boris Becker, so he was nicknamed Boris. So, he dared me to jump off this pier, and I did it, and then swam with some friends around to Porthminster Beach. It was about 20 minutes swim, and that was fine, but it was freezing cold, and it was so cold that when I got out, I'd actually started to turn blue.
Oh my goodness.
So I decided to write a poem about this, but once I started, I realised that actually the most interesting bit was the jump itself. So I focused on that bit, and who knows, maybe one day in the future I'll write a poem about turning blue. But it's always really fun to perform. There's a bit of audience participation, and I always remember when first time that we did it, and Charlie and Jake improvised some music, and then I was the next time we met up to rehearse, I was sort of blown away to see that Jake had produced a musical score for us. And I never thought I'd see the day when a Spiky Tim poem was accompanied by a musical score.
Yeah.
Oh, that took him so
One of my
long.
favourite poems of yours, Tim.
No, it's always great, and as a little group and collective, what I love about our collaborations is that everyone chips in with little ideas and little flourishes and things that we can add to each other's poems and performances, and it's it really adds to it, I think.
Yeah. And on the musical side, like when hearing Tim's performance of it, when we first started sort of experimenting with it, it had such a great rhythm to it, but it also really felt, I mean, obviously it's by the seaside, but it just immediately jumped out at me as being sort of like a seaside ditty with a sort of auto organ, pipe organ kind of thing that you might find in a fairground by the beach. So sort of that was the emulation of that through some playing, and it got a little bit complex, hence why I then had to felt necessary to write it all out in rough form. It wasn't perfectly, you know, we always try to sort of keep things a little bit fresh and improvised every time we perform. So it wasn't 100%, but the idea was there to just sort of get across that feeling of what was happening in the story, and I remember the recording the crowd participation. We because we spent two weekends, basically 2 years ago almost now, all recording basically all the tracks, and so the crowds and the cheers and the that you hear is all from us. We had to record it several times and put it all on there. And it's pretty effective. A crowd of about 20 in the end, I think.
From the five of us, yeah.
It was fun doing that bit, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah.
Yeah. And then another thing, we talked about the ocean drum. That, like, a lot of the pieces on the album that we worked on got drowned out by the sound of the...
Oh, this thing. It's beautiful, but it's unpredictable, isn't it?
A little bit.
It's very difficult to keep an ocean drum quiet, isn't it, once you've started it?
It's very difficult to keep the ocean quiet as well, so it's...
well, that is certainly true.
True to life, but it's...
What? I'm trying to do gentle waves and I'm getting...
That's it.
All I'm getting is a storm.
Yeah. So this features on quite a few of the tracks, as well as some real sounds of waves as well that were recorded in, I think, mostly in Lyme Regis down on the coast, which is a place that Charlie's been going to for a lot of her life, and then I've been going on along as well and recording some waves and putting that under some different tracks to sort of, as we said, there's a lot of tracks on this album that do talk about or deal with or mention the idea of water and the importance of that and what that means. So you get a lot of the ocean drum in there. So let's give it a listen to The Art of Showing Off, and hopefully there's no video for this, so hopefully it'll work. See what happens.
Go on, give it a go.
And now, the art of showing off. It's just me and the deep blue sea, nothing more except for my friends chanting my name rhythmically and crowds of passers-by who've stopped to see what all the fuss is about, saying, "Look at this idiot," and I know that they mean me. And the deep blue sea and me, perched precariously on a wall, on a pier, and there is no fear. Actually, there's quite a lot of fear. Heart is thumping, adrenaline pumping, waiting for the moment that I'll be jumping and I'll take flight. But I think I've lost sight of the fact that I am terrified of heights. What am I doing? But my mind is set and I won't regret. This is serious business, 'cause this is a bet with one of my mates. And you don't chicken out of a bet with Boris. I must confess, my initial distress is superseded by a feeling that I'm needing to impress. My first thought is to get it over and done with. But then I think to myself, there's a crowd here. I'm going to milk this situation for all it's worth. A little bit like I'm doing now. My arms are spread and I'm on one leg. I'll make the audience beg and I say, Om. And the crowd say, Om. And the ominous Om, like a bee gone wrong or a tone-deaf mermaid with a really rubbish song, is beckoning me into the void. And it's me and the deep blue sea and the crowd and the wall and the seagulls call, and we are all as one as I leap from the pier and the audience cheer. Something is replacing the sensation of fear. For a millisecond, suspended in midair, I experience the illusion of flight and invincibility, followed swiftly by the inevitability of gravity and a wall of freezing water which slaps me back into reality. As the crowd disperse, I'm a bag of bones bobbing on the waves. It's just me and the deep blue sea. But for 30 seconds, I was a hero.
Was there really a crowd?
Yeah, there's quite a few people. I've got a photo of it somewhere.
Oh, brilliant.
Of me mid-air.
That's one for the website.
Plummeting.
Oh gosh. Oh, it's so good to hear that as well. That's so funny.
What I didn't recall was, because I'd always had this visual image of you leaping off Weston-super-Mare Pier. And actually, it's much more, you're in a lovely location in St Ives and
Yes.
coming to Portminster Beach. So, yes, that's quite a different image.
Yeah.
The pier itself wasn't damaged, I hope.
No, the pier was fine. Yeah, I didn't leave my mark on that.
So no piers were damaged in the making of this poem.
No.
That's just good to know.
But you ended up outside the Tate St Ives, maybe in your blue state, in your blue.
It's live long in the memory. I think that incident.
Have you ever done it again, Tim?
No, it was a once only deal.
A once only thing. Yeah. You're not proposing to do it in the near future and sell expensive tickets to watch us.
No, this poem is the only way it can be experienced now.
Fair enough.
But vividly, it's brilliant.
And did you stand on one leg as well?
Yeah, I did all that. I did the
It's a
old.
documentary
It's all
poem.
true. So sorry.
It's all, every single word.
Brilliant.
Amazing.
Yeah. Well, should we talk a little bit about how what we've done together as a quintet has changed and evolved over the time? When we first started doing things together, as we said, it was 2016 when we began, and I think it was fairly confined to sort of the voices of the poets, your voice, and a piano if we were lucky. Since then, sort of branched out into very many different instruments and ideas. And as Charlie was saying earlier, that we now use a lot of loops to build a bigger soundscape around what we do. And it's a really nice way, we think, of working with words to create many layers of things that are happening underneath. Have a bit of like this found sound from somewhere, and then some soft sounds, and then some lovely percussion that we've made ourselves or that we found somewhere, or just play different instruments and bring a little bit more to some of these pieces than you can get with just the wonderful piano and the wonderful Charlie Atherton voice. And so but this next one doesn't do any of that. And this one was the next one is Gull by David Punter. So yes, would you like to introduce that one a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I was just thinking though before that, just in terms of what you said then, Jake, that in 2016 I had no idea what a loop was, and even now I'm not entirely sure. But
we are, David.
but also that idea of getting other levels going on below the words, that's something that poets have striven for a very long time, and you can't do it with the words alone, but you can do it but by using these kinds of electronic forms, and I think that's just wonderful. So it's just a general thought.
Yes, I agree with that, David. I think, in just submitting poems originally to Charlie and Jake, and then arriving for a rehearsal, a collaboration, improvisation, and hearing what you'd brought, and then actually all of us trusting one another. I think that's really built beautifully and seemed to be there from very early on. Those I said were very diverse. Trusting one another to come to suggest things and to see those weaving layers happen and even become a goal.
Well, yes. Funny you should say that. Tim mentioned a seagull, didn't you, Tim? In your poem. I've forgotten that connection. I think what I was trying to do in this poem was to capture something about about gullness, and I think I was probably trying to work on the basis of a much better poet than me, a man called George Macbeth, who wrote an amazing poem called Owl, which I do recommend. It's a most amazing poem, sort of impersonating an owl. I don't think I've quite done that, but largely because Macbeth is obviously lost in admiration for the owl, whereas my relationship with gulls is much more ambivalent. I mean, I do admire them. I admire them for their beauty of flight, and I admire them for their adaptability and their amazing ability to snap sandwiches, even when you're looking, which is quite extraordinary. On the other hand, I also quite fear them. When you look at a gull close up, the curve of the beak, the sharpness of the beak, the sheer size of the bird, I think is really quite scary. So I suppose it's something about those two things I tried to capture a bit of in the poem. The only other thing I'd add is that I've been quite interested recently in noticing, because I live quite near a lake, but not terribly far from the sea. The lake's quite a small lake. And when the weather is bad at sea, then the gulls come to the lake. The lake is otherwise populated with swans and egrets and so forth, and heron. And it's so noticeable that gulls don't understand trees. They won't touch trees. They can't perch on them. They can't relate to them. Trees to gulls are an entirely foreign territory. It's such a difference from land-based birds. That's all I want to say about gulls.
I never knew that. I'd never noticed that, David.
They can't touch them.
Wow.
Or they won't. Or they don't.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So we recorded this video back in a year ago, summer last year, on the docks, didn't we? To try and get all of the gulls. But are we going to see the video? Possibly not.
We'll give it a go again. I'll do it in a slightly different way this way that might sort of trick the technology into working. But if not, we'll be able to definitely hear it. But yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Well, let's give it a go, and if not, then we'll describe what the video looks like, and then you can go and watch it later. But let's try this.
Got 'em banged to rights. The noisy screamers.
No, I think the video is no go today, unfortunately.
No problem.
But what I'll do is I'll play it, and we can hear it all. But the video was, as Charlie said, we went down to the docks and recorded a new version, actually. Well, not a new version, a different version of different performance of the piece by David in the space of the harbour. And then we were all, as you'll see at the end of the poem, we become the gulls, and we recorded that all over the place, and it was cut it all together, and it's a really exciting video. So do go and check that out after this live stream over on our YouTube channel, which you're currently on. So this is Gull.
Gull. We've got 'em banged to rights, the noisy screamers and harbingers of our oceanic discontent. Jonathan Livingston, George Barker, Chekhov, fish and chips, snatched sandwiches, a certain stink of half-remembered, half-digested fish. Forgetting how huge they are is one thing. Worse is forgetting how gull they are. How unlike anything else in the many wild kingdoms we pompously incline to regard as our home, despite the anarchy of mosquito, buzzard, lynx. A white head endangered among rocks, scrabbling, claws spread to meet the gust. There is nothing romantic about this unseasoned life. Bear feed and guano, profitless, enduring, cold as midnight, we think, is cold, but always cold. In moments we are gull, instances of dream, flapping from the black precipice, swooning in the downdraft, knowing no knowledge except the squawking mouths, the endless need, revealed for a second in cowl of black and grey.
The noisy screamers.
Half-digested fish.
Forgetting how huge they are is one
Snatched
thing.
sandwiches.
Worse,
Scrabbling
squawking
claws.
mouths.
Head,
We've got 'em banged to
Bear
rights,
feed
the
and
noisy
guano.
screamers.
Half-digested fish.
profitless.
Always cold.
There is
Jonathan
nothing
Livingston.
romantic
Cold
about
as
this
midnight.
unseasoned life.
The noisy screamers.
Flapping from the black precipice.
In moments, we are gull.
But
The anarchy
always
of mosquito.
cold.
We are gull,
The endless need.
Unseasoned life.
knowing no knowledge except.
But
of cowl
always
of
cold.
black
Squawking
and grey.
mouths.
Yeah, so that's Gull. It's always really good fun to perform that one because we just get to pick out words and lines and phrases from the poem and just shout them out to the audience. And it always comes a little bit of a nice surprise, I think, for them after a nice reading to just all that energy. It's really good fun.
I don't think I'd realised how much you'd panned everybody left and right, and it just feels like if you're listening in headphones, you get some of us in your left ear, some of us in your right ear, and that kind of swaps around and stuff. That was, I don't think I'd quite picked out how wide you put everything. That's really cool. If that's surrounded in goals.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant treatment. I mean, I'd never thought of it, obviously, but it's all about the notion of gulls screaming and flapping and coming from one side to the other, isn't it?
It's such a powerful poem, and I think when I can't remember who suggested, perhaps you both, Charlie and Jake, that we improvise some of the lines, but each time we did it, it was always different, but it worked. And when you did film it on the most beautiful summer's evening down by the harbour side, and when you were reciting the poem, David, the gulls were appearing.
They were.
Come as extras.
Yes. And very luckily, we didn't get arrested.
Yeah.
Nor any guano landed.
No.
I always remember the recording being interrupted by that bloke with a ghetto blaster on a trolley.
Yes.
Wasn't he walking his dog as well?
Yeah.
I think he was, yes.
Yeah.
Didn't somebody come up dressed as a gorilla?
I think there was definitely a stag do or a hen do or something, and they were all in costume.
And also, weren't there people with massive helium balloons?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe.
Are you taking those tablets again, Jake?
Yeah. If they'd been dressed as a seagull, they could have been in the video.
Yeah. What an eventful evening that was.
It was.
Yeah.
But the film is again fabulous and really
Tremendous.
brings another level to the excellent reading. Because there is that mixture, isn't there, of the beauty of and the hugeness of them, and they're very present here in this river city of Bristol. And in the evenings they strut about on the grass in my large local park, looking very threatening indeed. That's captured, David.
Yeah, there's a big gang of them in the park, isn't there?
Yeah.
Oh no, brilliant! That was a lovely day.
Thank you.
Filming that and a lovely video out of it as well.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay.
Yeah. So moving on to the next piece is The Grace of Accuracy by Gilly Harries. So would you like to give it a brief introduction, and then we can give it a listen? Sorry, Gilly, do you want to give some words about this piece?
Would you like me to do that now?
Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I said it the wrong way around, didn't I?
That's absolutely fine. Well, this is a piece. As I said earlier, I was actually born in Suffolk, right on the coast. Lots of gulls, lots of birds. But I regularly return. Apart from this year, but I did make it once. But I returned with a specific intention to start a memoir piece that involved prose and poetry and a bit of essay. It's still in a box somewhere, but this poem came out of that days when I literally immersed myself where in the place I was born and the coast I knew well. And I was finally staying with friends who live on the Shotley Peninsula on the River Stour, where the Orwell and the Stour have a confluence. And it's, beautiful estuary, full of light, full of birds. And the title actually came to me from, again, a line from a poem by the American poet Robert Lowell, a poem called Epilogue. And I didn't actually know the poem well, but the line spoke to me because the purpose was really journeying back to find something of myself. And as it says in the poem, what you're seeking is very often already there within you if you take the time to focus and hone down, which I think happens in writing and as a non-musician, possibly in the creation of lyric and melody and music. So it has, again, it's heafed, as they say up north, in a strong sense of place. And the sea for me is, second home. I am actually a mer woman. This evening. So this is the grace of accuracy, and Charlie and Jake did a beautiful interpretation.
The grace of accuracy. The grace of accuracy is to have no requirement for accuracy. Setting out on a path linear with eastern light, return to this shore of pebble crunch, and finding all along the need was to stop, breathe, be in silence. And memory turns this way and that in one sunlit air, like a crystal roped on plumb-lined light. Now this shine, now that opacity. Discard the getting it right, measuring all distance between now and then, here and now. Just to stand by water. Allow its ebb to lap your small child's toes, high tide your heart. Just to stand by water, argent at Heron Lake's margin, shadowed with reed. Just to stand by water, phosphorescent with loss. Just to stand by water, the castled ferry heaving to leave. Just to stand by water, savour the sunfire's ozone bite. Just to stand by water, pooled with estuarine light. Just to stand by water, with the certain knowledge that this is the now of life. Just to stand by water. This is the grace of accuracy.
Just to stand by water, stand by water, just to stand by water, stand by water, just to stand by water, stand by water, just to stand by water. Stand by water, just to 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 stand by water. Stand by the water with me, stand by the water with me. Stand by the water with me, stand by. Just to stand. Oh, stand by the water with just to stand by, just to stand by, stand by the water with me, stand by the water with me, stand by the water with me, stand by the water, stand by the water with me, or stand by, just to stand by, stand by.
It's a very calming poem and piece. It's lovely to hear it again.
And it's had different interpretations now, Charlie, hasn't it? I was listening to the looping, and I mean that's our sort of original recording for the CD. But in fact, you did a different interpretation on one of the listening open collabs, and singing the refrain "Hide, hide your heart" in a lovely jazz voice, and the looping is. I didn't know what looping was either, and I have no musical references except a love of it. But again, it's the enhancement, and I always love performing that with you, actually.
Yeah. No, I think... sorry, Tim.
No, go on, carry on, Charlie.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think this is like the piece that has... Maybe it's not the very first one that we did, but it's helped us evolve our sound, and I think it's, you know, it's always been the piece that we've kind of experimented with, or you know, added new things to, or kind of, I think we always feel comfortable in the space that your poem creates to change things up a little bit, and so we always, it's never really, that one's never really stood still. So actually recording that was quite tricky, because it sort of had to, it was that was a moment in time of that piece, and actually in 2020 it's somewhere else now, but it was interesting to listen to that back. But actually I think
we actually had a lovely occasion when we performed it together in Suffolk, when you and Jake were performing in Aldborough and in Walpole, in the old chapel.
Oh, that was lovely.
The setting sun behind us in this old chapel. Yeah, that was nice. That was very nice.
I like what you said, Charlie, about spaces, because I've been wondering for some time what these things are that we're creating, because they aren't poems and they aren't songs, and they aren't they certainly aren't lyrics. I suppose they're improvisations. That is certainly true, and I suppose they are soundscapes. But I do wonder whether really increasingly they're spaces for us to fill with what we want, and for our audiences to fill with what they want. I'm not even quite sure what I mean by that, because obviously they're not empty spaces. But although they have boundaries, then it's as though all sorts of things could happen within those boundaries, all sorts of echoes within the edges.
Yeah, and the what's the phrase we use a lot for open collab? Creating a musical and sonic world around your poem.
A world.
Soundscapes as well,
Or a worldscape,
Worldscape.
Yes.
Yeah, the performance I always remember of that, I think it was again at Grounded, and I'm pretty sure we closed the gig with that one, and it was such a powerful ending to the and sort of the silence afterwards. You could see everyone had really been moved by it, actually.
Saying that, Tim. Well, we also this year did perform that at a festival, the Prima Donna Festival, which was started about 3 or 4 years ago by a woman whose name I can't remember, who lives in just outside Stowmarket in a grand country house, a great friend of Sandy Toksvik, and together they started Prima Donna Festival, which began largely as a festival for women performers, but they are inclusive and diverse. And I had hoped to be able to perform there and thought it would be a great place, being a Suffolk girl, to put her thing in. But anyway, they accepted the piece, and I literally within days of contact, we had days to submit it, a film, which of course Jake, I knew, had all the skills to make a pièce de résistance. And we met socially distanced in the park, not that far from water, from the harbour, on a windy summer's evening, with again people walking past us. And you can actually see that, I think, can't you? Jake did a beautiful recording, and it was submitted and accepted. And so actually we did make it to a festival this year, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
Yeah, that was a lovely day. We always pick lovely sunny days to do filming, don't we, somehow?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that that whole piece is so special to us, and I think it's meant a lot to us over the years, Gillian, in terms of, you know, how it's developed. As I said, how it's helped us to develop our sound through experimenting with the lovely piece. And actually, I haven't told you yet, but in our new album, we've written a song called "Stop, Breathe, Be in Silence," which I wouldn't release without getting your blessing first, but it's very much inspired by Grace of Accuracy. And
well, thank you for those kind words. But as I was listening again, and there is a slight sort of not really an embarrassment, but gosh, I've heard this poem so many times and I've performed it so many times, but actually I really felt I could inhabit the poem when we performed it together. As you said, David, it's not really a poem, or it becomes something other than a poem, but it's not a song. And it has an extra resonance this year. Stop, breathe, be in silence. And we've had enforced solitude, but we've also had time to contemplate and to value, nature, really.
Yeah.
Thanks, folks, again.
Thank you. Okay. Should we move on?
Yeah, should we move on? We shall move on.
We shall. Okay. So the next piece we're going to talk about is another sort of Echoes and Edges greatest hits. And it's Love and Water by David. So do you want to talk about this poem, David?
Yes. Well, I think there's not a great deal to say about it. It's a love poem. When I first wrote it, it was quite a short poem. It's become much more substantial now that it's gone through the process of becoming part of the repertoire with Jake and Charlie. It has a rather odd history because actually I was looking through. I keep a notebook of odd lines and phrases that come to my mind, and I was looking through this idly one day, and I saw 3 or 4 almost complete lines. They didn't seem to have much to do with each other, but when I looked more closely, it seemed that they did. And so this poem really is a kind of compilation of lines which I'd not originally realised were connected. Love and Water itself, I suppose the closest antecedent is an extraordinarily beautiful song by the Rolling Stones. I know we don't normally think of the Stones as writing beautiful songs, but they did sometimes. And this one's called No Expectations. And it has a verse that goes, our love is like the water that flashes on a stone. Our love is like our music. It's here and then it's gone. It's a wonderful, and of course they sing it, which I don't. I don't suppose you know it, Charlie.
No.
No, there we are. Otherwise, you could have sung it for me, but you can find it. I think that's all I need to say, really. Except that, I mean, obviously, I was conscious of issues of rhyme and rhythm in it, but really, it unravelled itself, and it's quite interesting, I think, in general, that some poems show signs of being very short, and some are being very long, and some are going on forever. This one was always short, but its length has has really altered, I think, as it's been through the collaborative process. Anyway, that's all I want to say about it.
And of course, it gave us the title for the album.
It did, yes.
It did. It did.
Yeah.
I've forgotten that. Yes, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Glory,
Glory in the Bone.
Yeah. Well, should we hear the title track, I suppose? Although,
I suppose it is.
yeah.
Right?
This is Love and Water.
Love and water. The clouds are piled like turrets formed of gold. The silver water slides along the quay. My morning body against your sleeping thigh. The heron darts down from the moving tree. Pale zebrafish and green and purple wrasse trace rivulets of pattern on your arm, and incandescent colourings of delight break like defeated waves upon your calm. Our love is like the water as it flows through channels to a landing place unknown. It imitates the starling as it glows and brings forth all the glory in the bone.
Clouds are piled like turrets formed of gold. The silver water slides along the quay. My morning body against your sleeping thigh. A heron darts down from the moving tree. Pale zebrafish and green and purple rice trace rivulets of pattern on your arm, and incandescent colorings of delight break like defeated waves upon your calm, upon your channels to a our love is like the water as it flows through channels to a landing place unknown. It imitates the starling as it glows and brings forth all the glory in the bone, all the glory in the bone.
Yeah, that's always a lovely one to perform as well. Thank you, David, for sharing that poem with Echoes and Edges. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another one that's just those two, Grace of Accuracy and Love and Water, have just helped us so much, helped our sound so much. Whatever we, the sound that we've found for those two and how they've evolved has evolved our music making as well. It's just,
well, to put it the other way round, that's much the best thing I think that's ever happened to one of my poems.
Oh, that's pretty good. We're both pretty chuffed then.
Beautiful poem, and I think you should send it to Mick now. But Charlie, I remember when you first I think it's the one poem that is actually a complete song. It actually works as a song in its own right. It's evolved from the beautiful poetry words. But I remember the first time that you improvised, collaborated, and performed that in your home. I mean, I was literally moved to tears, and I moved every time I hear it. I think it's the most exquisite love poem, actually, and the imagery is so wonderful. But that closing line, although you say short, David, it's a poem that closes exactly where it's meant to close, with perfect line.
Thank you.
It's means a lot to us. That one.
Yeah, and I think that one has a bed of sounds recorded in Switzerland and also Greece, if I remember correctly. There's some just gentle rain on a lakeside, and then also some waves that are not the ocean drum that time. They are actually waves recorded on the coast of Greece, I think. I can't remember exactly, or maybe
Interesting.
an island. But yeah, just a lovely space. Again, both two very beautiful spaces that the sounds come from, to just place them there as well. And yeah, lovely. So we've got one more track from the album that we want to share it with you all. And I'm really disappointed that the video is not working. What I might do is just go to the video screen and just pause it at various different points, just so you can see the style of it and what it is. Basically, so this next piece is All Creatures Great and Small by Tim, and we. Well, no, I'll let Tim introduce it first, and then I'll talk about the video a bit.
Yeah,
so
sure.
yeah, go ahead, Tim. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Yeah, so All Creatures Great and Small is it's actually preceded on our album by a track called Your Poem Made That Dog Bark, which is about a time that I performed All Creatures Great and Small at Victoria Park Festival, and a dog woofed at me. So that happened when I was performing this poem. And in preparation for today, I did dig out the old notebook where I'd written the original poem, and I can see that I actually recorded the date. So it was written on the 2nd of March 2012 at 8.
We missed it.
Sorry,
the key bit of information there.
Yeah, so my phone just went. I think it's probably the dog. for another word. But the fact that I recorded the exact moment that I wrote it suggests that I was pretty proud of it. And little did I know that years later it would be ridiculed in public by a dog. But I really enjoy performing this one. And again, the music that you guys put to it is brilliant. It's really bouncy, really catchy. And now I find when I'm performing it solo, I can hear the tune going through my head when I'm doing it.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
Oh, it's great that you've got all the information for the biographer that will. So that would be very useful. Shall we watch it?
Yeah, we'll try.
Can we watch it?
We'll we'll all go muted, but I'll just skip through a couple of frames of the video. Basically, one very, very sunny, very hot day back in 2019, we decided to make an animation for this poem and our collaboration with it as well. We cut up loads of paper into lots of different items and musical instruments, and we got Tim to draw himself the three characters that feature in the poem, and then on the hottest weekend of the year, I think.
Yeah, it was August bank holiday.
We decided that was the perfect time to do the animation, and so to do that we had to put foil on the windows so that no sunlight would come in, so we could use our lights in here. But of course that also made it very much like a greenhouse in here. So it was quite extreme, but we're very happy with the result. So whatever.
Yeah, it was nearly worth it.
The sweat, but no blood or tears, thankfully. But 1 out of 3 isn't bad for the ingredients that make great art. So this is some little snippets of the piece, and then we'll play it in full as well for you.
And now, poem that made the dog bark, all creatures great and small. You say they're rubbish, but I rise above it. It's a small grey rodent which I covet.
Chin 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 chinchilla, chin 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 chinchilla, chin 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 chinchilla, chin 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 chinchilla.
It's a dog not very big, like a barking guinea pig.
Chihuahua, 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 chihuahua.
As a pet it is impractical, as a gift it is unsuitable.
Elephant,
elephant. You say they're rubbish, but I rise above it. It's a small grey rodent which I covet. It's a dog not very big, like a barking guinea pig. As a pet it is impractical, as a gift it is unsuitable. Elephant.
Children's favourites. We've actually started now to improvise other verses from other letters of the alphabet.
That's brilliant.
It never fails to make me laugh, and humour this year is very important too.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone actually saw the entire thing, so I'm happy with that. Yeah, I was expecting to sort of have to, Anyway, well, glad that you got to see it in full. And the other two music videos, of course, are on our YouTube channel, so you can go and check those out for Gull and Everything Beautiful Has Edges. But yeah, that was All Creatures Great and Small, and the mad animation that we created for it. It was a lot of
We
fun.
just kept adding more things as well, more details and like silly things that only come up for sort of half a second in sort of inspired by Aardman, like filling the a cat food thing full of pizza and cheese and bananas and all the rest. I just couldn't stop making more things.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
Yeah,
silly.
you did a great job on the animation. It's really good.
If we had all the time in the world, I think we'd animate all of your poems, Tim.
They lend themselves well to the colour and the joy of especially paper animation, but any kind of animation, I think, would work well. So,
Oh, brilliant.
yeah, amazing. So that is the pieces that we have for you today from Glory in the Bone, the album, which of course you can go to echoesandedges.co.uk/Glory in the Bone to listen, download, stream, buy, and use the discount code if you want, and when you're purchasing the digital or physical version of it on Bandcamp. But yeah, I mean, so let's move on to some other just bits and pieces about the album, I guess. And yeah, I think we could talk a bit maybe about the artwork, and we've talked a bit about the name Echoes and Edges and the name of the album, where they all came from. But and yeah, the artwork was also something really special and was created bespoke for it by David's Caroline Case, David's wife. So yeah, if you'd like to.
Yeah, Caroline's my wife. She's an artist and an art therapist. She'd love to be here tonight. She does follow Echoes and Edges quite closely, but she's got another meeting planned for quite a long time ahead, so she can't be here. She sends her regards and her apologies. She also gave me early on in the evening the addresses of her Instagram site and her website, and I have managed to lose the piece of paper with them on, for which I deeply apologise to her and to all of you. However, her name is Caroline Case, C-A-S-E. If you go onto Google, I'm sure you'll be able to find her Instagram site and her website details. And if by any chance you can't, then you can always contact me, and I'm sure there are ways of doing that, David Punter, and I can supply you with those details. So sorry about that, but she's very much a paid up follower of the venture.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, maybe we could, maybe if we all had, to round off the evening, maybe if people had things to promote, like for example, maybe this would be a good time to say about, David's film and things like that. Maybe we should all say what we're up to at the moment. If anybody wants to jump in.
Well, I just want to preface it by saying I hope that we are creating new stuff, and that I look forward to 2021 when we can collaborate on our second CD. We were concerned at one point, actually, that when Charlie and Jake debuted at Ronnie Scott's, that and we joked with them, congratulating them hugely, of course, that they'd say, do you remember the days when we used to perform with that little group of poets in Bristol?
The formative years.
Well, it's been a really lovely evening. It's been lovely to chat to you all and kind of
Good to see you all.
Yeah.
reminisce about the making the album and kind of make some time to be grateful for our work together and to be listen to it back and kind of be really proud of ourselves for this great thing we made.
Yeah.
The great idea to do this, Jake and Charlie, it's superb. And indeed, let us think forward to the next phase.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I think for myself, I've really missed our gathering together.
Yeah.
We've really, enjoyed the work. We've been diligent, we've been creative, but this lovely, as I say, trust to put it out there and to take the feedback, which has enhanced everything. And we've had some lovely live performances here in Bristol, lots of different venues.
Yeah.
So I really look forward to that. Yeah.
No, it'd be great to be able to do that again.
Because it certainly enhanced how I felt about. I mean, I've always loved collaboration. I always do think two heads are better than one, and four more for me, definitely. But your musical ability, your huge gifts has made me feel fortunate. I think it's been a really fortunate collaboration.
Absolutely.
It's upped the ante of my words.
Thank you, Julie.
Absolutely.
It's great fun.
Yeah.
And it's great fun. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Brilliant. So, shall we? I think we should say goodbye. Should we say goodbye?
We should say goodbye.
So thank you. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. And do go and listen and stream and watch the album and come to our next open collab on the 21st of December. And watch out for our next collaborations and our new gigs in Bristol one day soon. Fingers crossed. Thank you, Tim, David and Julie, for a really lovely evening.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Great.
Good night.